All right, all right. All right, everybody, what's going on today in the operator's mic? We're going to focus a little bit more on something different. This man runs two businesses. Uh, just wanted to introduce everyone to Justin Keene. He is the co-CEO and COO of EdTech Training, but also has an amazing dog business that I want him to actually chat about towards the end because I'm super curious to learn more of how that came up. But really quickly, I know you've been in the space for quite some time here, almost looks like based off your background, almost like a 20 years, right? 20 years close.
Yeah. I started as a teacher and I taught high school
Mm.
studies for 10 years. Actually, my first teaching job was at a juvenile prison, and then
Oh, wow.
moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, taught middle school, then high school. And then when I went to get my master's, I talked the university into let me do um, an independent study to learn to code. And that allowed me to move beyond the classroom and into the higher tech admin side of things.
That's that's crazy. Definitely didn't know that. That's awesome. I love
Been
that.
fun.
So that's always what I love to share a little bit more about. So really, what people are on here, they want to learn a little bit more of just kind of what's your story? What give us a little high level overview on just your business, who you serve, and yeah, just anything else you could shed some light on.
My story is interesting in that it took a turn in 2020. I had moved from a high school to a district level job, and we were big. I mean, 150,000 students, 150 schools supporting Canvas and Google. I mean, we were big. And then I suddenly got sick. I had 4 brain surgeries in 6 months in 2020, and that has a way of changing perspective. So as a family, we decided to move out west for health and a different lifestyle. Um, and really, my goal since then has been to change the narrative, and that's how I ended up starting, these side businesses. Because I wanted to change the narrative for my wife and my family. They took care of me, so what can I do to, help and do more than what I've been doing? So
Aw- Awesome. So, where are you guys based out of now?
we're in northern Colorado.
Northern
We've been
Colorado. Okay,
here
awesome. Fort Collins, you
near,
said? Like that
yes,
kind
Fort
of.
Collins near Colorado State University. We've been here about 3.5 years and absolutely love it. The lifestyle change has been great. My wife loves to go hiking. She takes dogs. I mean, it's been, to say it's been life changing is an understatement. To the point where the doctors reevaluated everything, and people, I'm sure, have dealt with the medical side of things. I was diagnosed with something related to MS, and they took that diagnosis away. I'm driving again. I'm no longer on MS medications. I'm back to just it's crazy. It's been life changing.
Oh man. And so then, I mean, that's a blessing. I mean, to say the least. But so then, now that kind of that lifestyle change, you reevaluated just kind of what you wanted out of life. Is that kind of where EdTech, training really started? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I had this idea for creating a course. Um, you know, we had done something like this with my mentor before, and during COVID, we taught 5,000 users how to use Canvas, but only two of us monitoring the course.
Mm.
And so the idea had been there for years and years. And I remember when I was recovering, we took one last trip to the beach out east, and I said to my wife, I said, we need to make this happen. I need to do this. And so it actually started. My first business is called Script Wizard. I'm known as the Wizard. I'd earned that reputation just with all the tech stuff. So that's why I have the wizard hat behind me.
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's
Love
just a
it.
long running nickname that I've kind of adopted. And so I started Script Wizard and I built this course and I went to a big conference and I ended up partnering up. I met someone called the Canvas Queen, and she's known for her content, her videos, her engaging of people. And she saw the vision of what I was trying to build. And it was a good partnership. We're both former teachers, we're both motivated. So, what we did in the year after that was redesign the course, rebrand it, and bring it together. And then that's where EdTech training was born.
Awesome. And then, and I feel like it's a very unique space just because you guys are very well versed, but have a strong background. What do you feel are kind of like some of the industry trends that you're seeing in this space? I feel like there's a lot of ed tech type companies that do courses. So what makes you guys really unique?
Well, what makes us unique is I'm the type that I can't sit in a room and as my friend says, I can't breathe the air and learn. I need to do something. I need to play. And that's kind of how I learned to code was going in and messing things up and experimenting. And what makes us unique is our course is self-paced and it provides immediate feedback. So for example, if I say go put a YouTube video on a Canvas page, how do you know that they actually did it? How do you know they accomplished the task? And what my app does is they click a button, it'll go look at their Canvas page and then be able to tell them whether or not they actually did it. So it can give you the confetti and say, great job, or it can say, I see you put something here, but it's not quite right. Here's how you fix it. So it's that immediate feedback with videos that Lauren made that really walk everybody through. And we kind of scaffold everything. But at the end of the day, you either did it or you didn't. And we're able to see whether or not you did that. And I think what's important is how you get there can vary. You know, when I first started doing teacher training years ago, we would give somebody a task and thinking they were going to take this path here. Next thing I know, they've gone all the way over here and they've gotten to the same point, but they got there and they made the connections they made. And so that's what's kind of fun about this.
Okay, love that. And then what have been just kind of some of the challenges that you guys have been facing, even when you started, but also just some of the challenges that you guys are dealing with today?
Um, you know, getting adoption, first of all, getting people to see and understand that this is different, that this is not just videos or it's not just reading something, it's authentic. And then, it's patience.
Mhm.
Lauren, my business partner for EdTech, she's the face because she's got the following. She does the videos. I prefer to be the roadie. I like being behind the scenes and writing the code and kind of making the people up front look good. So you've got to understand that role and be okay with that, you know? And then when you're bringing people together from different backgrounds, it's getting those ideas to merge. It's not easy. It can be a slow process. It can be a slog or a grind, and being willing to put up with that grind is part of the challenge.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if the right personalities didn't really clash or really understand, I figure it'd make for a really difficult partnership. So probably number one, making sure that you're going in with someone who really gets your vision, understands the
Yeah.
vision. Yeah, and one who's can be easy to work with. I know that's always a tough one, even in nine to fives.
Well, even the being easy to work with is not necessarily the truth. You want someone who's going to challenge you. At least that's the way I was trained by my mentor was ask the hard questions, have the hard conversations. Lauren and I have had those conversations and really challenged each other. Well, why do you think this? And learning to step back from the ego and remembering that you're both working towards the same goal, that matters. And that's part of the challenge. The willingness to be able to say what needs to be said to help get to the end goal.
Awesome. But how long did it take you guys just to go from maybe idea, concepts, putting some things together to actually being able to sell on the market?
So I worked on the project as script wizard for a year, met Lauren, and then we probably spent close to another year rebranding the course, reordering it, just setting up all the automations. That's how I earn the name, the script wizard, is because I like the automation part. I like things take care of themselves and I kind of monitor. And I would say it was close to a year before we were ready to go to market and felt good about that. But the difference from year one when I started to this year, night and day, been absolutely great.
Awesome. Or can you like expand on that a little bit? Like, what did you feel like was the biggest change?
Being completely honest, at the end of the first year, I did not get any customers. And that is, you ask advice for entrepreneurs, that's extremely humbling. And that takes a minute to digest and be okay with. And that also helped me get to the space where I'm ready to make changes and not getting any for customers the first year too. When we launched, I mean, we had a bunch sign up the first few days. It was like, whoa, okay, this is kind of crazy. So
That's awesome. And then, well, let's talk about that experience of getting your first customer. I know that's a tough one. Anyone starting, you have to have customers. You need some sort of lead gen. You need something. Like, what did you guys go to kind of like a warm market first to start, or what was your approach?
so we posted a video kind of, we had a teaser saying that something was coming, that we've been working on something big. Sorry, printer just finished.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't
Well,
hear it.
so we had a teaser, something is coming. We're working on something big. Lauren had this vision for wanting this kind of course. So she expressed that. And then we put it out there and say, try it. This is it. She made this great video that demonstrates what it is, why it's different, and why we feel this is a game changer. And we had some early promotions to get people to join. We had some beta testers as well that were willing to put some stuff out there for us as well.
Awesome. And when you guys decided like where, like what platforms to put up these videos, did you guys use like multiple platforms or was it
Yeah.
more like, oh, okay. Because I feel like
Yeah,
everyone's
it was
using social media like TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn are always the big ones, but I feel like everyone needs a specific space. Like, right? You're not gonna like Lamborghini, they're not gonna put up a
yeah.
TV commercial because their clientele is not looking. They're not watching TV.
It's funny because Lauren, she had her following on YouTube, and that's where she had built her side of things up. So watching those numbers grow was fun. I'm not as big on the social media, so we made the plan that I was going to focus more on the LinkedIn side. That's kind of where I'm more comfortable. And then she'll make the videos for the different platforms. And when I post, it's a coordinated thing oftentimes, but she'll often tell me, I'll say, "What do you think of this?" And she says, "Well, let's go this way." And it's more than just, it's one of my close friends and my wife. They're a part of the decisions too. I learned a long time ago building websites. You design for the mom on the phone. So
Mhm.
oftentimes I will take it to my wife and say, "What do you think of this?" And she's like, "I don't like that color." And I'm like, "Why?" And she'll tell me. I'm like, "Good point." So it's taking it from different angles.
I love what you just said there. You design for the mamas on the phone. And that is so true because my wife always shows me something, right? And it's always on her phone. Guys, if there's something I can pick from this conversation, even just right now, is always don't, whoever you intend to make it for, just don't even worry about that. Focus on the
And
wife or the
that's a
mamas.
well, and I mean, an example is the shirt I'm wearing. you know,
Mm.
I'm the heavy metal guy, the wizard, all of that. Lauren's got a different aesthetic, but it seems to speak to people. So we're doing a conference, and I told her, so I'm going to wear our pink shirt. So this is our shirt that she designed. This is never what I would have designed, but it speaks to the crowd differently, and that's something you take into consideration. And the humbling part of starting a business is being able to be okay with that.
Love that. Well, no, that's some great insight. If there's, I know this is always a big one that does come up with people I speak with. It's there's always that one thing that they wish they could kind of adjust or improve in their business. What would you guys say that is for you at this moment?
Honestly, getting people to see the vision.
Mm.
Once people see it, I mean, I've had people step back and go, hold on, how did you do that? How did you pull off? I did something over here in Canvas and you're telling me that I did it wrong and helping me fix it. How did you do that? And that different approach. And so that's the hardest part right now is getting people to see it. And once they see it, I always tell Lauren, it's seeing is believing. Once you get in and play with it, okay, there's potential here. We've got a roadmap, we've got ideas of things to come. We're already working on one big one that I'm so excited about. So, yeah.
It's funny you jumped in pretty much to what my next question was going to be. I was going to say, with the next like 6 to 12 months, what are some of these like short-term and long-term goals?
So, we are currently building a course for Canvas admins. It's a small community of people who administer Canvas, and it's at different situations. I manage 160 schools across the country and overseas. Compared to someone who's running a small district, the need is the same. Who do you ask for those questions? Who do you go to that can help and you can get ideas from? So we are building a course to train Canvas admins how to be an admin, how the structure sets up, and then it's authentic. So that's one course, and then the course for the spring is Canvas design course. If you've taken an online course, you've seen examples of good and bad courses, whether it's on different platforms. And some of them are just text and some are just colored. So, how do you design intentionally a course that's going to meet the needs of your students? And then from the training side, how do you evaluate that? And that's where it's getting exciting because we're going to pull some tricks. We're going to say, go do this on a page, and then we're going to be able to provide real-time feedback on what's right, what needs work, and we're looking at the code side, which is going to be a lot of really cool. I'm excited about that.
Awesome. And I'm always curious, just because I know AI is new in this
Yep.
technology space, and that's a big one. I was curious to know if AI has impacted you guys' business model in any way, or any
Yep.
challenges that could come from that.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I get lots of requests or connection requests on LinkedIn from people do using AI in ed tech, and we're taking a very measured approach. Um, One of the questions I've got coming up on my campus admin is how to submit a support ticket. Well, from an evaluator side, how do you evaluate that to see whether or not they got it? That's where the AI is going to help me. I can say, this is what they responded with, this is what I'm looking for, and then it can give me the feedback of what is missing or what's there. And the AI is going to help on that side. So, yeah, we are definitely exploring it and being very measured about it.
Oh, okay. Love that. No, I think it's great. You kind of have to like roll with the times, right? Especially with
Yeah,
AI kicking in. I mean, oh man, I lost my train of thought here. I did have another
no
question,
worries.
but I was just gonna ask, just with AI and just kind of what they're doing, do you guys feel like they could 100% take over what you guys are doing, or probably not?
I've experimented with using it to see how it can help me. It helps me be a better coder. A lot of times, what I like to do is I like to write the code out and then I'll get feedback from the AI. And then if I don't understand something, it'll help me improve on my methods. But it does not bridge the gap on the knowledge that comes from a decade of experience as a Canvas admin. I've been an admin for 10 years, and there's a lot of things that you have to know the ins and outs and have experienced that. And they say, AI is going to replace jobs, but who's giving the prompts?
Hmm.
Who's building those things? And that's what I work with my kids on is how to construct those prompts, where to use AI in a positive way, but not rely on it. Use it as another tool in your toolkit, but not be the only thing because when something happens, it's in a moment and you've got to fix something, you got to know your stuff. You really do. And if you can't, my mentor always told me, how everything works, you can explain it, you can fix it. So,
Oh no, I love that. And I think that's probably the biggest question I've had from people. It's like, oh, well, if AI is going to take over jobs, then what's why should I build really a business that's going to be focused on the tech side? And I'm like, well, there's a lot that it can't do, right? But
yeah,
there's some of it that can actually help improve and even scale your business. So even from your perspective, like, yeah, I won't fully take over what you guys are doing, but it could potentially, help and then even
yes.
potentially grow and scale your business in the next, year or two. So I always kind of tell people things like that, but I don't know if you're gonna find that true for you for your line of work.
It's a pendulum. Everybody jumps in, they're using it, and they're doing too much, and then you kind of swing back, and then you try to find that balance. And I think that's where I've gotten better is what's the balance? How can it help? But there still needs to be the origination and the prompts and those kinds of things, and in kind of the direction.
Yeah, 100%. Well, for all entrepreneurs that are looking to get started more in this industry, in the ed tech industry, since you've been around the block for so long, what piece of advice would you give them, or even to your younger self, if you were to go back?
You got to understand it's an exercise in patience. If you have this idea and you believe in it, then you put forth what you need to do to see it through. And we, above our fireplace, we have a sign, and it has the lyrics from a song, and it's "Pursue happiness with diligence." And it's a song that I've heard for years, and it spoke to me. And it's that if you want to achieve it, you put forth what you need to, and that's what I would tell my younger self. Yes, this may be an idea, but see it through, give it time and be patient.
I've heard that one a lot too. I think a lot of people, I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and they say the same thing. Like, if you need to see an idea through, give it at least 12 months. Like, give it all you got for 12 months, and then you reevaluate then. But it's so true because you don't know what's going to work. You don't know what you're going to adjust to, and you have to be patient. Don't work for the paycheck. Work for the consumer, the customer.
Well, it's kind of you don't know the path.
Hmm.
I never pictured to be living in Colorado, you know, and here we are. And I didn't picture having another business with the family. It kind of happened, and so let's go with it. Let's try. So
Love that. Well, let's chat about that really quickly. Tell me a little bit more about like Art Pack Creations. I know you had shed a little bit of light on that, but I'm curious to hear more.
So the teacher and me, I work from home and I had to figure out ways to keep the kids occupied over the summer. And so I had them take a course online and on their computers on how to edit videos. And I said, okay, let's try 3D printing because I think they would like it. We'd never done it. And the more we started to play with it, the more we liked it. My youngest son was like, can we sell these? And to me, that was an opportunity for growth from them. It's like, yeah, you can sell them, but there are rules. What are the copyright and licensing rules? And what's going to set you apart from everybody else? And I remember having this conversation with the kids over the summer. What are we going to make? What are we going to sell? And what's our purpose? And I mean, they were completely stumped. And so then I had the idea that what if we make it purposeful? So a portion of every sale we donate to one of the local dog rescues. Um, we lost two pups this year, and we had one of them was a rescue. We had gotten him; he had severe heartworm. We knew that. We took him on because I'm home. Well, he died a
Mm.
month later,
Oh,
and the rescue was just—they were wonderful. They were so supportive. The foster mom of the one that passed knew of another little dog that met our needs, and she says, if your hearts are open to it, so he's sitting here in my lap right now. So
oh. Hi,
you
buddy.
got a tough life. So when we started focusing on the ability to give back, to me that was a good opportunity for the kids to learn about the community and how to support the community. And when we started thinking about the things in our lives, those are the things we know, those are the things we enjoy. That's kind of what led to it. So over the course of the summer, the boys started learning to develop their own models, their own ideas. I made them make websites, spreadsheets on pricing, do market research, all of these things that I've gone through with my business and made them do it.
Mm.
And
Love
it's been
that.
a lot of fun, like sitting as a family and projecting the computer up on the TV and looking at logo ideas and design ideas and discussing. And I mean, we've had a ton of fun with that. And we come up with random ideas all the time, and then we'll try to see them to life. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, I love that. I love that you still have your business, but still have a passion project, right? Where it's super purposeful. I feel like if we don't have a purpose, it makes it really, really tough,
Yeah.
right? So I love
And
that.
I
By
can
the
tell
way, I
you the
know.
purpose, because when I got sick, the mental health side, going through what I went through in that short amount of time makes you really have to take a step back. So I don't know if you can see, but I have dog paw semicolon here.
Oh yeah, I say that.
And this is semicolon. I don't know if you know that means mental health and suicide awareness. So we made a keychain for it.
Oh, I love that.
Then we went a step further. I have a ribbon on my arm, an orange ribbon for MS. So we designed and made this.
Oh,
So
awesome.
it's the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness, but then the dog plus semicolon, because the animals are a part of it. And what was cool was the kids were like, well, what do the different color of ribbons mean? So they went through and learned green, purple, all of those different colors, which was cool. So yeah, and then we have fun with it with dumb stuff like this.
Employee, yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you
So
sell those, by the way? Because I feel like
yes,
I need to
yeah.
buy one and have one here next to my desk because yeah, I work for myself too.
Yeah, we have a lot of those like random ideas. Like actually, one of them just yesterday, my wife was like, I said, "Hey, I got this random idea." She's like, "You need to make that into a keychain because you keep doing that to me." So okay,
I love that. All right, Justin. Well, as we wrap up here, I always like to share or tell people where can they find you if they want to learn more about, your businesses. Where can they find you? What's the best place?
you'll find me on LinkedIn. That's a social media platform I use for Canvas and our EdTech. It's edtech-training.com. And you'll see the aesthetic and the design that's focused on our course. And then our 3D printing stuff is ourpackcreations.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Justin. I appreciate your
Thank
time
you.
today. It was so insightful and impactful, just really learning about your story and just kind of what you're doing with the family. I love it. But yeah, guys, check him out. I'm super excited to get this podcast up soon enough. But thanks, Justin. I appreciate the time again.
Yeah, thank you.